leadership will come from Bitcoin first, Solana, even Ethereum, and then it will flow through into some of the DeFi assets, which, I mean, just from a fundamental standpoint, they are looking increasingly attractive. It's just that the price action right now is shocking. And so I've been very reluctant to add any new assets into the portfolio as the prices have been sort of coming back. And I'll probably be a little bit late before, in adding them as well, because I want to see the price structure start to change.
Financial conditions, different people measure it different ways, but one of the easiest ways is, an amalgamation of rates, the dollar, and some commodity prices, input prices. And we've seen a massive move in oil. We've seen a massive move in rates. They formed a nice head and shoulders top. Looks like, we should see rates back down at 3.5% in 10 years. And we've seen an enormous move in the dollar as well. It's a gigantic move in the dollar. And the dollar is the big daddy of all liquidity measures because everybody's in debt dollars. And I said this from the beginning is like China needs a weaker dollar. They will agree tariffs in the end, whatever the negotiation is. They'll agree something because they need the weaker dollar because they need to roll their dollar debts. Everybody needs to export goods, and you need a weak dollar to have a stronger global economy. The US needs to export stuff. Everybody wants a weaker dollar, and the weaker dollar is the biggest stimulus you can get. So it kind of is all, for me, it's like it's setting up. And now it's about technicals and on-chain stuff and just trying to nail the timing, because we've both identified it's like next 3 months, for sure higher. There'll be consolidations. Next 6 months, probably next 12 months. That's kind of how it feels, pretty certain. Now, the question is whether it's next month higher.
Raoul Pal reiterated his support for Bitcoin after comparing the cryptocurrency to some traditional assets. Paul shared a chart of Bitcoin's price showing a 110% annual return without equities. The renowned analyst also presented the Nasdaq's annual return, estimated at around 21% without equities. While he initially noted that the goal was not easy to achieve, he later acknowledged how easy it was to profit from Bitcoin's rise compared to the Global Total Liquidity Index, GMI. The declining value of major cryptocurrencies over time has revealed Bitcoin's attractiveness. Paul directly criticized Bitcoin's critics, who believe that a bet on the cryptocurrency will end badly. He noted that the same narrative has been repeated for nearly a decade, with critics arguing that correlation does not equal causation. Paul is confident in Bitcoin's ability to continually challenge the norm, as he believes the digital currency will experience continued exponential growth, while traditional assets experience financial repression. In addition to Raoul Pal, many experts have debated Bitcoin's ability to grow over time compared to traditional assets. According to Raoul Pal, Solana and Bitcoin will lead the next big bull rally. Before we move forward, if you want to stay updated with the latest crypto events and news, you can subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now, let's get back to Raoul Pal's view on Solana and the overall crypto market.
I think for the leaders of the crypto ecosystem like Solana, that looks to me like if now we see the response from central banks and liquidity starting to pick up, you've got a false break below a very important support level. And typically when you see a false break, the reaction to the upside is pretty dramatic because it always catches people offside who get very, very short right into the bottom end of that range. So that's, I think, with Solana and a couple of the large caps like Sui. There's been so much destruction in like the DeFi space. Like if you look at DeFi charts, they have broken through the 1-year lows. And so they're just in free fall, right? Whereas Solana...
And that would make sense because on-chain activity has been so low.
They are hypersensitive to the change in on-chain activity, and they're higher beta. So they get sold first.
As the cryptocurrency experienced decline, Solana's price remained in the spotlight, attracting the attention of analysts. Paul posted an optimistic commentary on Solana's price. He believes the cryptocurrency is at its oversold level and that a rally is likely soon. Paul indicated that Solana is 2 standard deviations away and oversold in the logarithmic regression channel. He noted that Solana is recording its lowest relative strength index, RSI, since the 2022 lows. As Paul noted, Solana is expected to experience a significant upswing in the coming months. While he is not taking new positions at the current level, he suggested that this period is the best time to buy on dips. The chances of Solana rising in the coming month are high, as the cryptocurrency historically surged in March. CryptoRank data estimates Solana average price growth rate in March at 32.4%. In March 2021, Solana's price surged 49%, following by a 23.2% increase in 2022. Although the cryptocurrency experienced a 3.25% decline, its growth peaked in March 2024 with a 60.8% increase. The dismal of Coinbase's complaint by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, means that the claim that Solana is an investment contract is no longer valid. The ongoing regulatory improvement in the country has indirectly put altcoins in a positive light. With the closure of the cases and the regulator's clarification that meme coins are not securities, innovators could revive the meme coin craze. This is undoubtedly one of the main catalysts that propelled the cryptocurrency's price to an all-time high of over $294. Ultimately, enthusiasm for the Solana ETF could also continue, propelling the assist into a favorable position for adoption by institutional investors if approved. With the Franklin Templeton Solana ETF filing with the US SEC, participation is high, increasing the chances of approval. The Bitcoin price is showing considerable strength and is on the verge of a major breakout. With moderate inflation figures in March and the possibility of a US-China trade deal, experts believe that the next Bitcoin bull cycle is on the horizon. High-cap altcoins such as XRP, BNB, and Solana, as well as Solana cryptocurrencies such as Fartcoin, Popcat, and Solixi, are also among the most interesting cryptocurrencies to buy. Overall, market uncertainty appears to be easing, at least in the short term. This allows the U.S. Federal Reserve to focus on the threat of slowing growth and respond to recession concerns with drastic rate cuts, a bullish scenario for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is reportedly set to hold a phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, which could lead to a trade deal between the two superpowers and an end to the tariff wars. Leading macroeconomists, including Paul and Julian Battelle, head of macroeconomic research, indicate that the Bitcoin price has likely bottomed and is now preparing for a major reversal. An explosive increase in the global M2 money supply is anticipated, which is highly correlated with Bitcoin's price trajectory. Global trade tensions sparked by U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff measures could end with a potential deal with China, as investors remain concerned about escalating tensions on both sides. Trump's April 2nd announcement of reciprocal tariffs on imports sent shockwaves through global stock and cryptocurrency markets. These measures include a 10% base tariff on all imported goods effective April 5th and higher levies, such as a 34% tariff on Chinese imports effective April 9th. However, according to Raoul Pal, the tariff negotiations could be merely a gesture to get the U.S. to reach an agreement with China. Given China's recent regulatory measures, a solution is unlikely anytime soon. In response to the U.S. tariffs, China imposed 34% tariffs on all U.S. imports effective April 10th. China's foreign ministry also pledged to fight to the bitter end against Trump's tariffs, which it called bullying by the world's largest economy. As the trade dispute continues to unfold, analysts believe a potential agreement between the two global superpowers could serve as a key catalyst for the recovery of digital asset markets. Cryptocurrency markets have a 70% chance of bottoming out by June 2025 before recovering. Investor appetite for risky assets like Bitcoin will depend on other countries' reactions to global tariffs.